Hello, welcome back to Crushing Sounds. My name is Chris. If you can believe it, Bloodstock has come back around once again, so I had to start getting, eventually, to our pre-Bloodstock content. So over the last few years, if you follow this channel, you will have known I've started doing what I like to call guide videos for Bloodstock Festival. Technically, though, I would say the only actual one that was a guide was the very first one. All the rest in the following years have basically been updating information or sharing new information about each respective year, basically. Because I am, of course, one to follow all the updates for this festival because I'm such a huge fan. So essentially, I figured I would run through any changes for this year, like always, that you might have missed across all the various announcements that have come out over the last few months. Sorry this one is so late. I was away for most of July, but I didn't want to put out a guide video at the beginning of July in case any new developments or changes got announced, so I know we're only a couple days away from the fest by now, but I hope this is still useful, especially for newcomers. First bit of advice for this year, as I say for every single year, if you're looking for general tips about Bloodstock, what are the differences between the campsites, what are the differences between the stages, when should you arrive, all that stuff, go watch my Bloodstock Ultimate Beginner's Guide video from a few years back. That should give you all the general knowledge that you need to know, and it's perfect for newcomers. Keep in mind though, some of the information in that video is outdated. Might be worth checking out my follow-up guides as well if you've not seen those yet either. Don't worry, they're not all 40 odd minutes long. So for this year in particular, I guess I'll start with the elephant in the room. I feel like I need to address this right from the off. Don't be a dick and start stirring up aggro and animosity at the festival itself because of the headliners. I saw that get a little bit nasty when Parkway Drive headlined. This year, granted for very different reasons, that could very well happen again. Look, I have my views on the booking of one of these headliners, and I'm not saying you can't be annoyed or disappointed about a particular booking for whatever reason that might be. What I will say is that at the festival itself, just leave people be to enjoy what they want to enjoy. We can get back to mudslinging on Reddit after the fest. When we're there, keep the vibes nice. So with that out of the way, let's go over some specifics this year. This is yet another sold out Bloodstock. All weekend tickets are gone, and I think only day tickets for Friday and Saturday remain. So yet again, this is going to be a very busy Bloodstock. So with that, the changes regarding space management from last year have been carried over. So I guess I'll talk about chairs again. The main stage camping chair exclusion zone is back, and the Sophie stage has an exclusion zone as well. The main stage one, though, you can see on the site map. They have stressed chairs are not banned from the arena, just in front of these two stages. This was done for the first time last year. It was not very well indicated at all where the zone actually started and ended. That got adjusted by the end of the weekend though. It's now back again this year, and again if we look on the site map, it covers the whole main stage area and around the EMP stage. You cannot use chairs in this area or you will be asked to remove them. There is a raised seating area at the back of the viewing area for the main stage. Anyone is free to use it if you need to have a sit down for whatever reason. It's tiny though, seriously small, so don't bank on actually getting a seat when you want one. They stress it's meant to be for a quick bit of respite. If you do manage to get on this raised seating, don't hog it for the whole day. Respect everyone else that might want to use it. Recuperate, rest up, and then give the seat to someone else. Also, Kier Campsite is back as a separate ticketed campsite. Like last year when weekend tickets sold out extremely quick, Bloodstock released a small amount of extra weekend tickets, but if you got one of those, you could only camp in Cure. Conversely, if you have a standard weekend ticket, you cannot camp in Cure. You have to camp in one of the main campsites. If you do have a ticket that is for Cure, it will say that on your ticket. It might also say quiet camping as well, because Cure has a midnight curfew. You also have a separate entrance from the main entrance, and I bet that is really nice. You enter the arena via the campsites, so you will be walking through Midgard. I'll just stress this again. I would urge you not to try and chance it and get your Cure wristband and then try and sneak in and camp in Midgard. They have space limits for a reason, just don't do it. Lastly, regarding space capacity, they have reiterated the rule that came in force last year. They will be on the lookout for people bringing in tents that are far bigger than what they actually need. If you are caught with a tent that is way bigger than you require, you will be asked to take it down and buy a more suitable option from Fat Frank's. This was a massive point of contention last year, with people claiming that it was A, announced way too close to the actual festival, which I do agree with, and B, that the rule was far too vague. What is too big? Is a 4-man for 2 people too big? Is a 2-man for 1 person too big? This was blown so wildly out of proportion, it was insane. It's plainly obvious when your tent is taking the piss. Just use a bit of common sense, for crying out loud. If you're camping on your own and you're in a 5-man tent, that's obviously unnecessary. I do agree, as I say, Bloodstock probably should have announced it a few weeks before the fest, not the week of, but it was announced last year, so you've had a whole year to know about that for this year. That's the rule, don't be an ass. Oh, and also regarding space as well, you cannot put up a gazebo before 12 PM Friday. Not Thursday, Friday. The Wednesday early arrival has returned once again. Last year, Ruben and I went on the Wednesday, and the queue to get in was horrific. There were so many people trying to get in on the Wednesday, it almost felt like, what was the point of this early day anymore? We have no idea how many tickets have been sold for the early Wednesday arrival, so we have not got a clue how big the crowd is going to be on the Wednesday as opposed to the Thursday. So I would say if you're worried about a massive queue to get in, there's not really any way you can judge it. It'll either be fine on Wednesday and a bit busier on Thursday, or the other way around, we just don't know. What I would say though, as I said last year, if you don't care about where exactly you camp, don't feel you have to go on the Wednesday. Valhalla and Asgard will fill up on the Wednesday, guaranteed, and about half of Midgard, maybe a little more than half. The other campsites, there'll still be plenty of space when you arrive early on the Thursday, and that's just, you probably need to get there early on the Thursday. If you arrive late on the Thursday, say after 6 PM, then you might struggle unless you go to the far end of the furthest campsite. But if you don't mind that, don't worry about rushing to get there on Wednesday. I'll be there on Wednesday because it's Bloodstock and I love being at Bloodstock. I've always thought that the Wednesday doesn't have enough going on entertainment-wise, but this year I'm excited because the film club that they're doing this year, they're playing the film debut of Devin Townsend's The Moth. That's going to be sick. I can't wait for that. Definitely try and catch it. A new thing they're trying this year as well is on the arrival days, on the Bloodstock app, they will be putting up updates about 3 or 4 times a day, they say, with how busy each campsite is. So when you arrive, you can look up where you can go to get some space. That's a really cool idea. Let's hope it works. Also, I guess I've mentioned it, download the Bloodstock app. It's the most up-to-date place to get info, and when the timings for the bands go up, they will go up on there. Don't use Clash Finder, the website Clash Finder, it's not accurate. Use the Bloodstock app when those times go live. They should be up by the time this video goes out. We're looking at another warm Bloodstock this year. Nothing like 2022 by the looks of things, thank God, but it's still going to be on the warm side. Low 20s, that kind of thing. On the last live stream on Facebook, Adam stated that you can bring sealed bottles of water into the arena. He stressed they must be sealed. I will just warn you now, as much as I adore Bloodstock, the security checks into the arena the last couple years have been shocking. Not bad as in not thorough, and not bad as in dangerous, but inconsistent on what you can and can't take in. Some of the security would allow you to bring in your sealed water, others allegedly were not letting you do that. Some people claimed they wouldn't even let you take in an empty bottle of water to fill up at the water points. So do be wary of that. They also claim that there'll be more water points in the arena, and that has me a little bit concerned. The water pressure at those water points is astonishingly bad, and I worry that adding more water points is just going to make that pressure even worse, because there's going to be more people drawing from the same water source. But I'm glad that they're at least trying to do something to improve the water situation. I hope they just fix that water pressure, because it is so bad. Apparently they are adding some mist cannons for the main stage, and I think Sophie stage as well. That's a really nifty idea. I hope they have a Bloodstock vinyl wrap on them. Take away from the heat thing though, just please, for the love of God, look after yourself in the heat. Even if you're not thirsty, drink water anyway, especially if you're drinking alcohol. I know the queues get long for water, but just do it. It's not worth being careless about this, but also the medical tent will give you sun cream if you need it. That's a really good shout. Carrying over from previous years, they will be announcing a bunch of bands for 2027 at the main stage on Friday. They have confirmed it will be as soon as Municipal Waste are done. All headliners will be included in that announcement, and 2 of the 3 main stage headliners have never played Bloodstock before, so make sure you're there for that. It's going to be a big one. Put your predictions in now, who you think it's going to be. Also, the fairground rides are gone again. Thank God. I hated those bloody things, so no Ferris wheel for you filthy degenerates. The battle arena instead will be there again, with the usual fun activities like Rock Fit, that kind of thing, but also a pillow fight club hosted by Sam from Raised by Owls, so that should be a very good laugh. If you do that, there will be waivers you have to sign and quite a lot of rules, but it sounds like a laugh. In that similar vein, legal bin jousting is back in Midgard. Again, you need to sign waivers, you need to not be intoxicated, and they have been improving it over the years, trying to make it as entertaining as possible. Once again, though, be wary if you insist on doing illegal bin jousting, because you may well get kicked out. So with all those recaps, let's look at some new developments for the festival that you should be aware of this year. Not too many, so this shouldn't go on for too long. The things that people like to argue about at Bloodstock seems to change every single year. It used to be about chairs, and then Bloodstock stepped in with the chair ban. So last year, it was whether children should be allowed to camp in Midgard. I find it funny how download goers always seem to be a year or 2 behind whatever Bloodstock are complaining about. If you look at this year's download Reddit, they're now complaining about chairs and children, so who knows, whatever we complain about this year at Bloodstock, you can bet download will be complaining about it next year. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. I'm not a parent, never plan to be, so I don't have any valid opinion on where kids should be allowed to go, whether it's unfair or not for the parent, the kids, people around them. What I will say, you know your kid, what's too much for them, what you're happy with them witnessing, so if you personally think a rowdy metal festival is fine for your kid, then absolutely fair enough, you do you. I have no opinion, basically, on whether kids should be in Midgard, but Bloodstock have now decided that Midgard, the big main party campsite, it will be for over 16-year-olds only. Families are instead asked to camp anywhere else. If you want to chance it and camp there with a kid that's younger than 16, you may well be asked to move to another campsite. I'll be intrigued to see how strictly they're actually enforcing this. The campsite and the arena now have various Wi-Fi hotspots where you can, in theory, get some signal if you need to get internet for whatever reason. I say in theory because Arctangent have these as well, and they're still useless. By all means, give it a try, but don't assume you'll be able to get any Wi-Fi data while you're at the festival. There's just quite simply too many bodies in one space trying to get onto the network at the same time. It just doesn't work unless you find a corner of a press area or something, which unfortunately most of us can't do. On that note, therefore, make sure you have taken screenshots or downloaded your ticket for the festival or tickets for anything you're going to pick up on site, like your beer or merch or anything like that. Have it downloaded to your phone before you get to the festival. If you try and load it up on the day, it may not work. Speaking of tech though, Adam mentioned on the live stream again that the info points at the campsites will charge your power banks for you. Just power banks, not your phones. If you want to charge your phone, you need to buy a locker. But for people taking power banks, that's a really good tip. I don't know why they don't advertise that. Big shake-ups to the arena this year. The Sophie stage and the EMP stage have both been modified. The Sophie stage has been expanded to be allegedly quite a bit bigger. According to the site map, it looks to be more or less in the same place as before, just that it's bigger. Now, I love the Sophie stage for many different reasons. One of the things I didn't like about it was how much people would love to bottleneck at the entrance, making it look much more full than it actually was, and also making it difficult for people to get in past them to the bar on the other side of the tent, which would inevitably be a lot quieter. But now it's bigger, maybe the entrance is going to be bigger? We shall see, but bigger Sophie stage, hell yeah, Can't wait to see it. And the EMP stage has moved. It has now been moved to the back of the arena opposite to the main stage, but its shadow has been left on the floor. Crying out loud. I hope there's a scorch mark there in real life or something. This should be interesting to see in action. It was always close to the main stage, but it faced the same way, so if you were in the EMP tent, you didn't have to worry too much about sound spillover from the main stage because it was being blocked by the back of the EMP tent. I don't know which way it's oriented now. I worry if the main stage is now behind you as you're watching the EMP stage, now you might have spillover from the main stage coming in behind you. I don't know. We shall have to see on that front. I hope it sounds good. I will be furious if the sound of Vanitas on Friday is compromised. And for the first time in the history of the festival, the main stage will have some bands playing on the Thursday. They have stressed this is a one-off event. It's not the new normal. It's simply to celebrate the 25th iteration of the festival, with a few fun bands and, of course, Saxon headlining. The arena opens at 4 PM on the Thursday. We don't yet know the timings of the bands, but the Sophie stage bands usually start about an hour, maybe two, after the arena opens. We don't know yet when the main stage bands start, but there are only 3, so I suspect it's going to be quite a bit later than the Sophie bands, although I would guess they are probably going to do what they usually do, where the main stage headliner is going to play before the Sophie headliner. So I think that covers old developments and new developments for Bloodstock this year. But I wanted to finish off with something of a more personal note. I see a lot of people online every single year asking for advice for going to Bloodstock alone. Going to festivals can be stressful and at times incredibly nerve-wracking, especially for people with a socially anxious disposition. Camp Loner is a group on Facebook you can check out if you want. They like to meet up and just so everyone who's on their own can socialize basically in a group. If you look on the site map, I'm pretty sure they camp in the top left corner of Valhalla, but look for the Facebook group. That will tell you all you need to know. I bring this up this year specifically because this year is going to be my first ever solo Bloodstock. Every Bloodstock I have been to, it's been with my brother Mike, and since 2021 we have been going with our buddy Ruben. This year it's just me for the first time. I've done some solo Arctangents before, and as cool as they are, being on your own at a festival can be quite lonely, even though you're surrounded by 20,000 people. But I know that Bloodstock is going to be an awesome festival to do solo. There are so many great people at Bloodstock, from the regulars to the new people discovering it for the first time. If you are going solo and you get a bit overwhelmed or a little bit lonely, the Samaritan stand in Midgard is back and they are fantastic. Just go chat with them, they are amazing. Also, if you just want to chat and you see me wandering around the festival, feel free to come and say hey. I get quite socially anxious as well, but I know over the weekend I will miss talking about all the bands I've seen with my mates at the tent. So come chat about how your weekend's going. It would be cool to meet some of you. So with that, if you are going to Bloodstock this year, I hope you have an amazing time. I'm sure I will, as always. Check back here very soon for my lineup rundown video where I go over all the bands I'm excited for this year, and if there are points about Bloodstock I haven't covered here but you would want some answers for, feel free to comment those down below and I or a lovely viewer will do our best to point you in the right direction. Get excited for Bloodstock, it's nearly here, so in preparation for that, go listen to some amazing heavy metal. And I'll see you in the next video.